Working up the courage to quit your job. Hey you, I'm Sarah Turner. I'm a freelance copywriter and copywriting mentor, and this is one of my favorite topics because if you're watching this video, you're thinking about quitting your job, and that is one of the most exciting and terrifying places to be. I remember because I was once there. I actually quit my very last 9-to-5 job in my pajamas. The story goes, my dog was actually unexpectedly killed. It was the most devastating day of my life, honestly. He was my shadow. He was everything. I joke that he's my soulmate. Anyway, it was devastating, and what ended up happening is it caused this giant existential crisis, and I walked in and quit my job in my pajamas about 2 days later, and that is very not like me. My boss is like, what is going on? But I was a wreck. Anyway, you don't have to do it like that. In fact, I encourage you to actually think about it. I've walked a lot of people through quitting their jobs, and so there are some really important things that you can put in place so you don't do it totally out of an act of desperation like I did. You know, I hope you learn from my mistakes. So with that in mind, I want to give you some tips on what you can do to kind of set yourself up for success for when you quit your job. And the first thing I really want to encourage you to do is to really get clear about your finances. A lot of people who come to me for mentoring around quitting their job, they tend to do this thing that I've noticed where they don't actually take the time to figure out exactly how much they need to make to replace or exceed their income, including things like benefits. You know, you got to take the time to really research and make sure you know exactly what you're going to have to pay to cover the benefits, to cover contributing to your retirement plan. And I've realized that over the years, seriously, so many people don't do this because they're afraid to look at it. But I'm telling you from experience that when you actually take the time and shine a light on exactly what it is you need to make this whole thing work, you're going to experience relief. And you're going to have an actual target, an actual goal to work towards. So another thing that's important to think about, especially if you're freelancing or you're going to go on your own and be an entrepreneur, is break down your monthly goal into a by day goal. Because usually you'll find out what you need to earn per day to kind of make up your income isn't that much. And when you start thinking about what skills can I add to my skill sets to actually cover my daily rate, the things that whatever it is I need to make per day, you'll start to realize that there are more opportunities and things that you can add and do to your business to make it a much more feasible plan of action than you probably realize. So again, I want to encourage you, shine a light on exactly how much money you need to make. It's so important. And if you let it just loom in the back of your mind, it kind of becomes this dark rain cloud that follows you around and can be so much more scary. So you actually take away the power of the fear when you look at it and you face it head on. The next thing I want to encourage you to do is to hit your mindset work really hard, because your mindset work is not only going to affect how you show up in your business, it's going to also positively impact your life. And if you are wondering, where the heck do I start with mindset work? Definitely check out some of my YouTube videos on mindset work. But my favorite thing is to implement a morning routine and to take small actions daily. And I really am a big believer in meditation and mindfulness, but especially in affirmations, because our brain tends to skew negatively. And there's a phenomenon in how we interpret things called confirmation bias and negativity bias. So if you're not familiar with those terms, it's really worth looking up. Confirmation bias is our brain tends to take in information that actually reinforces our own beliefs. And some of these beliefs can be kind of sneaky. They can be underlying and subconscious. So it's important that you're kind of trying to pull those out with some self-awareness. But anyway, so confirmation bias means that we are constantly looking throughout our day for things that reaffirm our beliefs. And negativity bias basically means that we tend to skew negatively. It's really our brain's evolutionary, trait that is meant to protect us. But the thing is if we are not actively pushing back, most of our thoughts are repetitive. I think it's like somewhere of like 80% of thoughts are just like repetitive on repeat. And if we're not pushing back against those repetitive thoughts, we're kind of letting our subconscious just totally run the show and run rampant. So I want to encourage you to really, really, really focus on mindset work if you're thinking about quitting your job, including writing affirmations that push back on some of your most deepest fears, like I don't have what it takes to be an entrepreneur, or I'm not creative. All of the things, all of the personality traits that make good entrepreneurs can be cultivated. Truly, you can learn how to be more creative. You can learn how to be more resourceful. You can push back on the idea that you're not good with money. You can start saying, instead of I'm not good with money, you can say things like I'm working on being better with money. That is a huge, subtle choice of words that actually encourages growth and opportunity. And when you actually include those affirmations in your morning routine, what will happen is, first of all, I want to remind you, you don't have to believe your affirmations yet. You just have to be willing to push back on your old school self-limiting beliefs. But if you say something like, I'm working on being better with money, and you are saying that to yourself as a part of your affirmations in your morning routine on a regular basis, when something arises, like maybe someone in your co-working space is holding a workshop on how to be better with money, you're going to think, I think I should take that workshop. And you're going to show up and you're going to push yourself to be better in an area that you know is going to bring more impact into your life. Because ultimately, there aren't really business problems, there are personal problems that bleed into our business as entrepreneurs. Our lives and our mindset and our businesses are so deeply intertwined as entrepreneurs, it's essential that you're pushing back. And the great thing about it is you're gonna get to actually reap the rewards, not only for your business, but for yourself personally. The next thing I want to encourage you to do is to build your own hype squad. And what I mean by that is sharing your ideas and your fears around quitting your job with a safe place. And here is something that you might not have thought of. It might not be your partner. It might not be your best friend. It might not be your parents. The question I want you to ask yourself is, have they been where I'm trying to go? And if the answer is no, then they shouldn't be on your hype squad. If the answer is yes, then they should be on your hype squad. Even better, if they've been where you're trying to go and have actually gotten there successfully. Those are the people you want to surround yourself with. And they don't have to be people you surround yourself with physically. You can find these people online. So really, truly, be careful with who you talk about quitting your job with, because if you share with a parent who is not an entrepreneur, or a partner who's not an entrepreneur, or anyone, and even a well-meaning friend, usually they're going to give you fear-informed advice, which means they're just going to be trying to protect you and keep you small. So be really careful about who you bring on your hype squad. That doesn't mean reject those people or don't go to them for other advice. It just means that they might not be the best person to give you sound advice in this particular area. And when you're about to quit your job and the fear is high and the stakes are high, if you share this very delicate, very scary thing with people who just don't get it, you run the risk of them sparking a lot of intense fears and actually keeping you from doing what's best for you more quickly. So be careful who you bring on that hype squad, but definitely start building it. The next thing I want you to do is save money. I don't think you need to have a year's worth of income built up to actually take the chance, but I really think it's the best thing to do is to have maybe a month or two's worth of money, but also to be practicing whatever it is you're going to quit your job for on the side. And that is going to be an intense period of hustle. And I don't really recommend that for the rest of your life. I don't think that entrepreneurs need to hustle everybody loves to glorify the entrepreneurial hustle in a really weird masochistic way. I'm not all about that, but that period when you're about to quit your job, but also building your confidence around your ability to make your entrepreneurial venture work, that is a period of hustle. So I want to encourage you to save a little money, but also be taking steps to prove to yourself that when you quit your job, the thing that you're working on is a viable option for you. So start it out as a side hustle and then get to a place where you're like, okay, I see this is going to work. And then you're going to have to make the switch. And that switch might mean that there's going to be a period where you make a little bit of less as you're building up your entrepreneurial venture. So that is super normal and natural, and I definitely wanted to speak to that. So make sure that you do what you can to make that transition as seamless as possible. Another thing I really want to encourage you to do is to follow worthy mentors. Again, this might be working with them one-on-one through coaching or a mentorship program, or maybe a group coaching program, or it might just be reading their book, watching their YouTube channels, whatever it is, find a worthy mentor of someone who has been where you're trying to go and make them a beacon of light in your life. Because that's the fastest way to venture out into a path that isn't one of the prescribed paths, to be a nurse or a doctor or a teacher, right? So make sure that you are finding worthy mentors and following them. And also giving yourself permission to do things a little bit differently. Listen to their advice, take it, because it's going to be the fastest way to grow. But of course, give space for your growing your own business intuition, because that's a really important part of the process of making your business work for you. And finally, make an exit plan. I want to encourage you to really sit down and write it out. Maybe you're going to put down the date you're going to quit your job, how much you want to make from your side hustle that's going to turn into your entrepreneurial business, and how you're going to know what is the point at which I'll actually make this transition. And sometimes, especially if you're a freelancer, what this means is just building up your confidence in client acquisition, because you won't have the time to have a full-time job and a full client load. But if you know, okay, I know how to bring on clients, and you work on building that confidence, even if it means bringing on clients for the sake of bringing them on as practice and offloading them to another freelancer because you don't have the time, that is an important step in this process in creating your exit plan, because it shows you, okay, I know exactly how to scale work once I have time, and once you have time, and once you need that time, then you can quit your job. So this is a really scary place to be, but it's also one of the most rewarding moments of your life. I just want to say that I believe in you. I know that you can do it. Take the time to really shine a light on the scary parts, because I bet they're less scary when you actually focus your energy on it and you really problem solve. Because you, my friend, are a really creative and resourceful human. And I know that you can figure this out. There are so many resources available to us today, so keep looking into them. Keep absorbing the wisdom and information of people who have been paving paths for you. Anyway, I hope that helps. I get really excited about that. I'd love to hear from you in the comments what your experiences are around quitting your job, or if you're about to, what are your biggest fears? And of course, please hit that thumbs up button if you like this, and don't forget to subscribe. It really does mean a lot to me when you subscribe. And of course, I'm always putting out videos, usually twice a week to help you. So thanks so much, guys. Have a wonderful day.